recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
Gotmark76 this week, 1990.
Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting edition of Gotmark76 this week, 1990. We have a great show lined up for you today. We start with the former World Tag Team Champions Rick and Scott Steiner as they take on Agent Steel and Pat Rose. We will also see the original Horseman member Tully Blanchard in action against Brad Armstrong. Abdullah the Butcher takes on a member of the Sullivan Slaughterhouse, Cactus Jack Manson. What a matchup that's going to be. And our main event for the World Television Championship. The Enforcer, AA Arn Anderson, defends his NWA World TV title against Wildfire Tommy Rich. So a great show lined up for you today as Scott Steiner with a big clothesline takes down Agent Steel. It was back at Wrestle War when Rick and Scott Steiner lost the World Tag Team Championship to Doom. And they are looking to get back on track in the tag team division here in World Championship Wrestling as Pat Rose comes in, takes down Rick Steiner, and a clothesline by Pat Rose. Another clothesline forearm by Pat Rose. And Rick Steiner on the receiving end of some offense from Pat Rose. A beautiful drop kick by Rick Steiner sends Pat Rose reeling, and an elbow to the chest for good measure. As we saw at the top of the program, Nature Boy Ric Flair showing his allegiance to Sting and the current version of the Four Horsemen. But battle lines look to be drawn here. Tully Blanchard said last week that he was patient and understanding with the time it was taking for Ric Flair not to answer him if he would rejoin the original Horseman. But he also said he's starting to get offended that it's taken so long. A beautiful suplex by Rick Steiner takes Pat Rose up and over. And one has to wonder just how much leeway Tully Blanchard, Arn, and Ole Anderson will give Ric Flair to come back into the fold. Now, Ric Flair had said his loyalty lies with Sting, and a beautiful belly-to-belly suplex by Rick Steiner takes Pat Rose up and over. But we have not heard Ric Flair actually turn down Tully Blanchard. It's almost as if Ric Flair wants his cake and to eat it too. He wants to be the original Horseman with Tully Blanchard, Arn, and Ole Anderson. But his loyalty lies with Sting. He is being torn between the two factions. As Scott Steiner has Pat Rose up, and a beautiful suplex pile driver, down goes Pat Rose. Scott picks up Pat Rose. A reversal, Rose throws Scott into the ropes. Scott Steiner throws Pat Rose into the ropes, up and over the top. And a hip toss back in, dumps Pat Rose unceremoniously. Off the ropes, up and over, Pat Rose. Being hip tossed in again. Into the ropes, and there it is, the Frankensteiner by Scott Steiner takes down Pat Rose. Referee counts 1, 2, and 3. Your winners, Rick and Scott, the Steiner brothers, here on World Championship Wrestling. Here are some highlights from earlier in the contest as Rick Steiner, with a series of belly-to-back and overhead suplexes to Pat Rose. And there's that beautiful suplex pile driver by Scott Steiner. But it was the Frankensteiner right there that put away Pat Rose. Fans, Tully Blanchard is in action next as he takes on Brad Armstrong. You do not want to miss that match, as Woman and Tully Blanchard are starting to target some fan favorites here in World Championship Wrestling. Maybe the Steiners should watch their backs. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this quick timeout. And welcome back to World Championship Wrestling, as Tully Blanchard's in the ring with Brad Armstrong, and these two men, no strangers to each other. They've battled before. However, it's been a couple years, and Brad Armstrong looking to hopefully have the outcome been different than it has been before, as Tully Blanchard with an elbow drop to the back picks up Brad Armstrong. And now working the leg of the Candyman, Brad Armstrong. Woman at ringside yelling instructions to Tully Blanchard, and a punch to the midsection, and down goes Brad Armstrong. Tully Blanchard will receive a world title match next week against Sting. He was informed of this as he made his way to the arena tonight, as the referee begins a count and throws Brad Armstrong into the guardrail, and a series of right hands, and Brad Armstrong is in a world of trouble. And Tully Blanchard throws, Brad Armstrong into the ring post, and then rams his head into the ring post. Referees counts up to 6. Armstrong on the outside. Tully's going to win this match by count out 7. And Tully Blanchard, your winner here on World's... Wait a second, Armstrong back up in the ring and is met with a high knee lift, and down goes our Brad Armstrong. Tully Blanchard took the fight outside of the ring. Brad Armstrong could have just taken the count-out loss. He would have thought nothing less. But that is not the competitor that is Brad Armstrong. He wants to fight, and he's in the ring, but Owen trying to make a comeback with a big right hand. Front face lock on Blanchard, working the arm now. Tying up Blanchard and slammed down to the mat. Working the knees of Tully Blanchard, and Brad Armstrong, for the first time in this contest, showing some offense. As Tully, going to Woman, getting some advice, but being thrown into the turnbuckle charge clothesline, and the Bulldog out of the corner. And Brad Armstrong firing up this crowd here at center stage. And now, a leg lock on Tully Blanchard, trying to cut off the circulation to Tully's head, but Tully fights his way out. Kick to the midsection. Brad Armstrong has Tully up. Going for, I think, a power bomb. Blanchard, into the corner. Brad Armstrong throwing Tully Blanchard into the corner, and Blanchard wisely rolls out. Armstrong follows him outside, and Blanchard catches him with another high knee lift. And what a back and forth match this has been here on World Championship Wrestling. Again, these two men, no strangers to each other. And Tully Blanchard, who was just informed earlier tonight he will get a world title match against Sting next week. Maybe he's letting that go to his head. And Brad Armstrong staying in this match. The count's up to 7, and back into the ring against Armstrong, who was met with a shoulder block takedown. And Blanchard now going to work, kick to the midsection, and a chop. Another chop. You think that's a message to Ric Flair? He wants Flair to reform the original 4 horsemen with him, Arn, and Ole Anderson. And thus far, Ric Flair has declined as Blanchard has Armstrong up in a slingshot suplex, and down to the mat goes Armstrong. A beautiful slingshot suplex by Tully Blanchard takes down Brad Armstrong. And that may be all she wrote. Blanchard goes for the cover, Referee in position, counts 1, 2, and 3. And your winner, Tully Blanchard of the original Four Horsemen. Here are some highlights from earlier in the contest. That beautiful slingshot suplex took down Brad Armstrong, and that was all she wrote. Blanchard went for the cover, got the 3 count. And we are going to hear from Tully Blanchard. Don't go away. We have words from Tully Blanchard. And welcome back to World Championship Wrestling as Cactus Jack Manson in the ring. He awaits his opponent. This ought to be quite the battle. As that man right there, Abdullah the Butcher, making his way to the ring. And he has aligned himself with Captain Mike Rotunda and Norman the Lunatic. And Cactus Jack, the bell hasn't rung, but Cactus in the aisleway. And Abdullah and Cactus going at it. And Cactus throwing Abdullah the Butcher into the guardrail. They're fighting, exchanging blows. And Abdullah takes Cactus Jack down with a big chop. And here comes Kevin Sullivan. And Abdullah slams down Cactus Jack, takes out Kevin Sullivan. Abdullah the Butcher, a one-man wrecking crew, taking down half of Sullivan's slaughterhouse, but Cactus back to his feet. Abdullah throws him into the guardrail again. And again, Abdullah goes after Sullivan. A big chop takes down Sullivan. Abdullah the Butcher going to work on Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack Manson. This match has not begun yet. As Abdullah making his way to the ring, Cactus still fighting on the outside. And Abdullah throws him down. And Abdullah taking off the headgear and into the ring. Sullivan picks up Cactus by the head, having words with Cactus Jack. Manson in the ring, the referee finally calls the bell and away we go. And Abdullah kicking away, goes for the cover on Cactus, 1! And a kick out at 1 by Cactus. These two men have very unorthodox styles. You won't see any pure wrestling in this contest. It's an inverted atomic drop on Cactus Jack. And Abdullah the Butcher in control, throws Manson into the turnbuckle, charges, and nails Cactus Jack with a big splash. Kevin Sullivan, seen enough, throws a chair in the ring. Abdullah goes for the cover, 1, and a kick out at 1 by Cactus. And now Sullivan up on the apron, distracting Abdullah the Butcher, and that has allowed Cactus Jack to get the momentum. Throws Abdullah into the ropes, and a big elbow takes down Abdullah the Butcher. Cactus Jack Manson working the arm of Abdullah the Butcher. Goes for the cover. Count 1, 2, and no, a kick out by Abdullah. Abdullah setting into the turnbuckle. Cactus Jack follows suit with a big right hand. Owen slams the top of his head into the face of Abdullah the Butcher, setting him up, and here comes a pile driver if he can get him up, but no! Abdullah with a back body drop gets out of that pile driver. Picks up Cactus. What's he have in mind here? A big chop against the ropes goes Cactus. Across the ring, into the ropes, and a big elbow chop takes down Cactus Jack. And the referee caught some Cactus shrapnel, but he's back to his feet as again Kevin Sullivan distracting Abdullah the Butcher, and that has enabled Cactus Jack to regain the advantage. And Cactus begging Abdullah to come on. I'm not sure he wants that. Throws Abdullah into the turnbuckle, charges, and misses! Abdullah moves out of the way, a big right hand! Another right hand forearm, snapmare takeover! Abdullah goes for the cover, will this be in one? And a kick out at one by Cactus. If Cactus Jack Manson likes pain, he's in the ring with the right guy. And a series of elbows breaks up that maneuver. Cactus again throws Abdullah into the ropes, and again he moves out of the way. And Abdullah with a big chop takes down Cactus. Goes for the cover. Abdullah's feet on the ropes, one, and a kick out at one by Cactus. Abdullah the Butcher not afraid to break or bend the rules with a big headbutt. Down goes Cactus, and again Sullivan distracting the referee when Abdullah had a cover on Cactus Jack. And Abdullah the Butcher again having words with Kevin Sullivan. Again, Cactus from behind. Owen slams down Abdullah the Butcher. Cactus setting up Abdullah. What's he have in mind here? Could it be the face plant DDT? He's setting him up, but Abdullah shoves Cactus to the mat. Abdullah with a big right hand. Throws Cactus into the ropes. And another chop takes Cactus down. Abdullah the Butcher eyeing up Cactus. What's he have in mind? He's going to pick him up. And another headbutt by Abdullah takes Cactus down. A stomp on the back. Lines him up. Drops the elbow. Referee counts. 1, 2, 3. And Abdullah the Butcher has pinned Cactus Jack Manson here on World Championship Wrestling. What a match between these two men. A brawl. They wrestled in the aisleway. Before the match even started, the referee very lenient with the rules. But it was a series of headbutts and a big elbow drop by Abdullah the Butcher that put Cactus Jack away. And here are some highlights from earlier in the contest. And Abdullah having words with the fans here at ringside. And Abdullah going to the outside and making his way. Oh, he's grabbing a chair. Abdullah grabbing a chair. He wants to inflict more punishment and thought second of it. Fans, our main event is next. The TV title on the line. Don't go away. And welcome back to World Championship Wrestling. It is time for our main event, the World Television title on the line, as Wildfire Tommy Rich challenges the Enforcer, AA Arn Anderson. And what a show we've had. Of course, big match happening next week. The World title on the line. Sting defends the NWA World Heavyweight title against original Horseman member Tully Blanchard. And speaking of the original Horseman, There is Arn and Ole Anderson. They are being accompanied to the ring by a woman, the manager of the original Four Horsemen. And that is the prize that we are fighting for here today, the World Television Championship. As the introductions are being made, Wildfire Tommy Rich, a former World Heavyweight Champion in his own right, looking to add the World Television title around his waist. But he will be facing a man who, quite frankly, is on quite the roll here in World Championship Wrestling. And that is AA Arn Anderson. And he said it just a few weeks ago to Ric Flair, if you're not with us, you're against us. And we've heard from Tully Blanchard, who will get a match next week against Sting. He also said that the fourth member of the Four Horsemen will reveal himself, and I say this with quotes, naturally, when he feels the time is right, and begin the speculation that the fourth member of the Four Horsemen is Nature Boy Ric Flair. As Arn Anderson going to work on Wildfire Tommy Rich with a knee to the head. I mean, you have to, when you hear those words by Tully Blanchard earlier today, that he will naturally reveal himself, that has to put doubt in Sting's mind. But Arn Anderson going to work on Tommy Rich. Another knee to the side of the head. And Anderson picks up Wildfire. Kick to the midsection blocked. And Rich takes down Arn Anderson and turns him into a Boston Crab. Arn Anderson will try to make it to the ropes, but instead pushes up and uses his leg strength to break the maneuver. And a charging shoulder block by Tommy Rich takes down Arn Anderson, who wisely rolls to the outside of the ring. Tommy Rich cannot win the World Television title by a countout, but Anderson slides back in, runs and charges, misses a clothesline. Rich with a belly-to-belly suplex slam. Down goes Arn Anderson, and stomping away now is Wildfire Tommy Rich, working the arm of the enforcer. As Ole Anderson and Woman look on, trying to offer their support to Arn Anderson. And Rich slamming the head of Arn Anderson to the mat. Goes for the cover. Referee counts 1, 2, and 3. No! Anderson kicks out. And Rich wants a faster count. The referee explaining that he did his normal cadence. And now Rich picks up Anderson and slams him down to the mat. Rich staying on top, but Anderson fighting back with a headbutt. Now, that's not a maneuver you see Arn Anderson use often. And into the turnbuckle goes Arn. Oh, and Wildfire rolls out of the way. Anderson from behind has a handful of tights. 1, 2, and no, a kick out by Rich. And a clothesline takes Rich down. Anderson had a handful of Tommy Rich's tights. In fact, they're still semi-down. But Rich comes back with a side slam. A backbreaker of sorts by Wildfire Tommy Rich, who needs to stop gloating to the fans and stay on top of Anderson. And again, Anderson jabbing away. And Rich picking up Anderson for the pile driver, but back body drop. Anderson reversed it. Picks up Rich. Has him in a front face lock and slams him down to the mat. That suplex slam. That should be it. Goes for the cover. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. And Arn Anderson can't believe it. He thought he had the match won, and his title retained. And Anderson wisely staying on top of Wildfire Tommy Rich. A kick to the midsection, forearm to the back, and Arn Anderson staying on top. And now working the arm of Rich, but Rich makes it to the ropes. Anderson, I'm not sure if he thinks, no, he knows he's just celebrating to the fans. He thought he won, but he didn't. Rich sweeps the legs. And now Rich, dragging Anderson to the middle of the ring, goes for the cover. Will we have a new TV champion? 1, 2, and 3, no! A kick out by Arn. A back and forth match for the World Television title. As Rich throws Anderson into the turnbuckle, charges, and Arn Anderson moves out of the way. But Rich, with a series of kicks to the thigh of the Arn Anderson, Arn Anderson finds himself in trouble. Up in a suplex slam down to the mat. Rich feels that World TV title coming to him. Picks up Arn, setting him up. Throws Anderson into the turnbuckle. And a clothesline from behind. Rich goes for the cover. New champion. 1, 2, and 3. No! Anderson again. Barely escapes. And Rich again having words with the referee. Wanting a faster count. Of course he does. He would have won the World TV title. Anderson trying to make a comeback. Takes over Rich. Setting him up. Front face lock. And again a suplex slam down to the mat. Anderson back in control. The referee checking on Rich. Anderson goes for the cover. Title retained. 1, 2, and 3. No! Rich kicks out. Rich kicks out. And Anderson wondering what he has to do to put Tommy Rich away. Rich getting back to his feet and walks right into a spine buster by Arn Anderson. There's a replay. Rich gets up and walks right into a spine buster by Double A. Goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. And Arn Anderson is retained the World TV title here on World Championship Wrestling. What a back and forth match this was. I thought Tommy Rich had the title won on more than one occasion. But Arn Anderson able to kick out. And Arn Anderson still the World Television Champion. And again, we heard from Paul E. Dangerously saying that the new charge of Mean Mark has put all champions in the NWA on notice and mentioned Arn Anderson's name. So Arn needs to look out for any and all challengers. Fans, we thank you so much for joining us on Gotmark76 this week, 1990. Next week, a huge world title match as Sting defends the NWA world title against original Horseman member Tully Blanchard. We'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.